Hey guys, Rob Ford here from Betway. I'm joined by Semmler for a few questions. So, first of all, you're usually a caster.
Yes.
How are you finding hosting the desk?
It's a lot of fun. I've always, luckily for me, I would say, I got to do Gamers back in May, June.
Yep.
And so that was a lot of hosting. And so it was able to like refresh me on how to host, because back in the day I used to do some hosting, used to do some interviews, used to do all that, but then obviously just went right into commentary and then did nothing but that. And no matter what you think, it is a different beast when you fill a different position in the show. Analyst is one thing, host is a totally different thing. And so it was fun. I mean, I wasn't even supposed to be a host at this event. I just came in and I was supposed to be an analyst. And then they were like, "Oh, can you host?" And so I was like, "Yeah, I guess I can do that." So I'm pretty happy with how things are going right now. But it's a challenge for sure,
yeah.
Especially because now that I've gotten to experience what it is to work with a bit more of a structured show, because esports is all ad lib, and so that's good and bad, right? Because when you want to host and build a structured show and you have a whole team around it, now I understand more like how the whole show is built, like how important is a rundown and what needs to happen and who's looking at and all this sort of stuff. So now I realize when I do the hosting here, I'm like, man, this is tough, because you want them to be able to express themselves, but you also want to stick to the rundown because you know the entire crew is running off that rundown. And so it's a bit of a tap dance sometimes on trying to get things right and not.
Yeah. Do you feel you have to cut people off sometimes? You hear you're all right, we've got to throw over to the machine. You're like, okay, guys, quickly.
Sure. Or when we have situations like the one we just had now, where there's a technical difficulty and that hasn't been communicated to me, and so it's like, okay, throw over to show, and then it's like, oh no, we need to fill. So I could have done that whole segment differently instead of having to cut off Yanko at the end there, or force Duncan to not have his point. I could have gone more with that. Could have been smoother, right? So there's a bunch of stuff where you realize it's fun to be a part of it, just because you realize just how many moving parts are there that can fuck up and ruin everything, And then the whole goal is to just try and make what can be a chaotic situation look normal, so that obviously the viewer has no idea that shit's on fire.
Well, you're all pretty good at improvising, and this probably will help you in the next bit. What I'm gonna ask you about is so there's 3 games going in at once.
Sure.
How would you follow them?
I don't.
You don't. As a host, you kind of maybe have to think about questions you're going to ask for the analysts, or
no, I go off of no. What I do is basically I just kind of like glance at this one, glance at that one, glance at that one, get an idea of how it's going, and then with that's the thing with such quick segments, you're not going to have time to analyze deeply anyways, and so really what you're doing is you're looking to see, okay, a couple of good points here, a couple of good points here, a couple of good points here, maybe a few more for the main match because we'll have maybe a little bit more time to talk about that one. Okay. But that's kind of what you're looking to do. You're just looking to pick up a few pointers because you know that you're going to have to show a map breakdown. You're going to have to show the talk about this and this and this, everything that's in the rundown. So how much time do you actually have for real analysis where is really seriously watching the game to find you don't. And so that's where you try and find a bit of a happy medium so your head doesn't explode.
So instead of finding individual rounds and talking about that and breaking down plays, you can just give the audience a general overview.
Exactly right.
Okay, final question. Are we going to be seeing you at many more events this year? There's a few ECS finals and ESL Pro League.
This is my last event for the year.
Last event?
Yeah.
Next year?
Not sure
not anything
yet.
planned, but
nothing planned yet.
Can we expect to see you at some?
I mean, there are a few things that are being discussed right now.
Okay.
And I can't speak to them obviously because nothing has been set in stone. So, but I do have plans that are coming up. One of them could be a pretty big shift though. So it's interesting. I mean, there's 2018 right now. I'm very excited. We'll see how it all goes.
Can't wait to find out. Guys, if you enjoyed the interview, follow us on social media. Hopefully you already do because you're watching on our channel. But if you don't follow Semmler, go and follow him. What's your Twitter handle?
On Fire Semmler.
Perfect.